Welcome to Event Radio, covering local drag racing, stock car racing, motorcycles, go-karts. If it's got wheels and you can race it, you'll hear about it here. Event Radio is motorsports radio on steroids. Now, let's join your hosts, Spivvy Williams and Terrible T Guy.
All right, guys, welcome to probably the most important edition of Event Radio that Terry and I have ever done for you. It's not we're way out of our element here. We really believe in what we're going to tell you. We don't know everything to be 100% fact. We feel that it is. But if, like I say, this is not race stuff, T-Bone. We know about that. We don't know what we're getting ready to do. We're going to bring you a show, and we're going to air it every Sunday. And to tell you just a little about where it came from and why we're doing this, if this is your first time to listen to us. Back years ago, Terry and I, both motorcycle freaks, you a big-time motorcycle freak, there was a movie that was made back in the 70s, and it was a motorcycle documentary. And it was on every kind of motorcycle, playing with a motorcycle, I guess you would say, that you could do. The name of it was On Any Sunday.
And Spiv, it was one of the first movies that come out that showed the real side of motorcycles instead of the outlaw image and such as that.
Right. It showed having fun.
Families
it showed
racing.
having fun,
Right.
and everything that goes on with them across this country. And there is some method to our madness here by using this. One of the stars of this was the guy that was the epitome of cool. He still is to this day, even though he's been gone a long time. A fellow by the name of Mr. Steve McQueen. And he was real as rain. He was not only a number one actor that at the time in Hollywood.
Harvey Mushman.
Harvey Mushman. He signed into motorcycle races as Harvey Mushman. And it was actually Steve McQueen. The significance in what we're doing is that Steve McQueen died from complications of lung cancer. He did everything in the world to contribute to it, but that's not what got him. The lung cancer got him, and it was not from smoking cigarettes. The lung cancer, he always thought, came from the Nomex material in the driving suits. It came from the Nomex material in the helmets, and it came from all the chemicals out there. Pretty much now, research has showed him to be right. That cigarettes are for sure a terrible problem, and they sort of got thrown under the bus, if you will. And trust me, you don't have to be real smart to realize that sucking bad stuff down in your lungs is going to hurt them. I think that Alfred E. Newman could figure that out. But it's the easiest thing to find to blame it on. And we're not taking up for it by any means, because for sure it's probably the main cause. But there are so many others
that
out
we
there
didn't know about,
that nobody knows about. And the thing about this show that's going to be so important, you find things that go to causes and do things to help. And this one doesn't have anybody to go help but you. It's not when you see an infomercial on TV of send your money here, send it here, and they prey on your emotions to do that. We're not about that at all. We're not going to do that at all. But there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Lung cancer can grab you anywhere, anytime, and the bad part about it is you don't know you got it until it becomes a booger bear to treat. And we're going to tell you what exposed us to it. We're going to try to explain to you why we're doing what we're doing. and how you can help and not help anybody but you. That's what this whole thing is about. It's not like anything else out there, because you can have this and not know you've got it. You have no idea how you got it, and until some things happen that we're going to explain to you on into this show, there's no way to ever know you got it. But that's going to get fixed, and we're going to tell you how that's going to be as we go along. We're going to take a real quick little break, and we're going to fire up wide open and tell you everything about our Sunday show, which we call On Every Sunday. We'll be right back, guys. All right, guys, we are back on the very first program of On Every Sunday. We told you a little bit in the opening about why we're here, what we're going to do, but we got to tell you how we got here. About, a month or so ago maybe, I went and did, T was off racing motorcycles, but I went and did a little car show out in the country, and it was rainy, it was nasty, it was cold, and my wife has allergies like you wouldn't believe. I mean, it's just terrible, and she has to go get treatment for them every year. Well, needless to say, she wouldn't stay in. She went and wanted to work the car show thing, and that was cool. We had fun. We came home. My wife is the epitome of health. She walks 2 miles every day. She can walk 1 mile in 15 minutes, but she walks 2 miles every day of her life. She has no shortness of breath. She has absolutely perfect blood work. She goes to the doctor because she is a type 2 diabetic, so she's in the doctor's office every 3 months religiously. The doctor, her blood work, she's 65 years old, which I shouldn't be telling you that, but that's okay because she looks like she's about 40.
That's what I thought.
Yeah,
I know. Secret.
I know. But she has the blood work of an 18-year-old girl, other than her little diabetes flare up a little bit, and she controls it excellently. Her doctor is absolutely on his game. He knows what he's doing. After we went out and walked, we went to church with T and Miss Rose, and we came home, and she went and did her walk, and she came back in, and it was a little chilly. And she started coughing here at home a little bit. Well, she coughed really hard. We thought it was allergies. And all of a sudden, she spit up just a little bit of blood. And I'm talking just not even a thimble full, okay? We said, look, this is not normal, but with the allergies and as hard as you've coughed, I'm sitting there thinking, man, she's ruptured a little blood vessel somewhere or something. To make a long story short, we decided to go have it checked out. She went to her doctor. Chest x-ray, excellent. Blood work, excellent. You look, Susie, you just got your head's full of this allergy stuff. We've got to give you an antibiotic. And because you did spit up a little blood and you are a former smoker by 10 or 12 years ago, whatever it is, I don't know, 8, 10, 12, 7, I don't even remember. We both quit the same day.
I believe it's closer to 10.
Well, whatever it is. Anyway, he said, because you were a former smoker, I wouldn't be doing my job without having you get a CT scan just because of the blood. He said, I don't think there's a thing to it, but I want you to do that. She said, cool, we'll do it. So she went and did that. Came home, and all of this stuff started because they found a little spot on her lung. We went to a lung specialist. He said, look, the only way to know for sure is to do a scope that they sort of knock you out and run a thing down, and they get a little piece of it, and they test it and that kind of thing. She did that. After wondering and worrying for about a week, we went to the doctor's office, and he came in, and he said, sorry, you have lung cancer, and it is malignant. And I want you to, I take that back. I'm ahead of myself. He wanted, after the scope, because he couldn't get enough of it out, he said, because she was bleeding. He found exactly where she was bleeding. He said, I want you to go have a thing called a PET scan. Well, what a PET scan does is they fill your veins full of sugar, and cancer cells love sugar. I didn't know that, but they thrive on sugar. So the PET scan, the cancer cells eat this sugar, the radioactive sugar, and it shows up on this, I guess you'd call it an X-ray with an attitude, okay? It shows up where they are located in your body. Well, came back, and the spot was malignant. She had a few in her lymph nodes, and she had one little bitty spot on her spine, he thought. He said, well, we can go in there, and we can this, and we can this, and we can this. And I said, no, we're not going to do that. And I said, we're going to go to Vanderbilt Hospital, Nashville, Tennessee. They are not just a U.S. premier hospital. They're a worldwide hospital. They are the bad guys on the block. They know their stuff. He said, well, who do you want to go to? Well, we had already had a week of waiting on his diagnosis, and my daughter, Stacy, had been on the computer. She's an ace, and I love her to death. She found a doctor for her mom, and the doctor's name, through a friend of Stacy's even, this gal had treated. Her name is Dr. Leora Horn. And this little gal, after Stacy brings me all this information and I'm looking at it, this little girl has enough letters behind her name you would think she burped a bowl of alphabet soup. I mean, I have no idea what they all mean. I'm just thankful to God that she's got them. So we set up an appointment to go there. On our first doctor visit, we waited 6 days. On the first day, we set up the appointment from Vanderbilt. We got 4 phone calls from them at Vanderbilt Hospital. Now, keep in mind, this is one huge hospital. They do 100 surgeries a day at Vanderbilt, and every kind known to man they do. And they have a complete cancer center, which Dr. Leora Horn is one of the heads of it. She is an instructor in lung cancer. She is, like I said, she's got every kind of letter in the world behind her name, and I probably won't live long enough to ever know what they are, and I really don't care because I found out how good she is at what she does. But she said, you need to go first to a lung specialist downstairs, and her name was Meredith Pugh. Well, we walk in there, and Dr. Pugh looks like a cheerleader for the Vandy football team. She doesn't look like a doctor. She's a very attractive gal. But she is also brilliant at what she does. And she doesn't pull any punches. She actually hits harder than Muhammad Ali. She will tell you exactly the way it is and exactly what she feels like needs to be done. But she said, you're going to the best this hospital has to offer, Dr. Horn, and I'm going to get with her, and we're going to decide what to do here. So we go back upstairs, and our appointment with Dr. Horn is an hour later. We go in, and we meet this young lady. There again, here comes another cheerleader. They don't look old enough to even be doctors, but they are both brilliant. They're the bad guy on the block.
Well, they'd have to be brilliant to be at Vandy.
And to be at the top of the letters of Vandy. They're not just at Vandy. They're not just on staff. They head it up. They're the guys that teach doctors how to do their thing. So I got to talking to her, and I said, Dr. Horn, I appreciate everything you're telling me, and she does things completely different as far as treatments on the way to go about Susie's deal. She said, don't pay much of attention to what you read on the computers and stuff, because that stuff's a couple of years old. She said, we work with what happened last month, not 2 or 3 years ago. And so she explained that they were going to do a bunch more biopsies on Susie, and they were going to tailor her treatment to her DNA. So, which is the latest, greatest thing that Dr. Horn has been a very, very vital part in developing, along with Bristol Myers. She and them, they're a huge company, and they've been developing this on, there is even in the works a pill that you can take that will make your own DNA chew up the cancer. And Dr. Horn heads up the studies on this also. So that's how sharp this lady is. I couldn't help myself but say, Doc, how in the world my wife here is a epitome of health. How in the world do people know to come see you? She said, therein lies the problem. They don't. They don't know. And usually, once they're sitting across the desk from me, the cancer has a hold on them, and we have to go to work with treating it, figuring out a way to fix it. And she said, I am working on a new thing. Lung cancer is the only cancer out there. Number one, it kills more people than breast cancer, every other cancer combined, be it colon cancer, be it melanoma of the skin, be it whatever. Lung cancer is the worst, and there is no screening for it. In other words, you got it, and you don't know how you got it, and you don't know where you got it, and you don't know how long you've had it. So until you get in front of a doctor and until some kind of a symptom comes up, you don't know what to fix. It's pretty doggone hard, whether you're a racer or whether you're a whatever you are, fireman. You can't put a fire out if you don't know where it's burning. And so to fix this without a screening, there is no such thing. In breast cancer, there are mammograms for women. In colon cancer, there are colonoscopes or colonostomies, I think is what they call them, where they can find this early in things. But in lung cancer, there's nothing. There is nothing until Dr. Horn, with all these little letters after her name, decided there was a way to do this. She is working through Vanderbilt, and just about there now. I mean, it's really just exciting for not just. It's a little late for Susie, but for everybody else out there. Susie's in the treatment phase. Had we known earlier, the treatment would have been a lot easier. And as I said, Susie had no symptoms at all.
None at all.
None. Not any. And she was the epitome of health. If I'd had to bet, I would have bet Stacy and I and T would have been would have got a lot sicker a lot sooner.
Well, Spiff, Susie's always one taking care of us, being like
that's
a mother
right.
hen.
Yeah.
You
She's
boys
a mother.
wash your hands.
Yeah. Take this sanitizer. Make sure you wipe down that golf cart now. She's guiding us, and here she's the one that comes down with this. So we're sitting with Dr. Horn, and I'm sitting here just going crazy because I'm an old race car guy. Terry's an old motorcycle racer. We're used to a little bit of warning when something's getting ready to self-destruct. I know you, T, running the flat track stuff, you feel a little something if the motor's ready to lock up, or you got a little warning signal, but before this wild stuff happens. I know in the funny cars, the thing noses over, it puts a cylinder out, it does something to give you a little warning.
This here just blindsides you.
This is 100% blindside. I asked Dr. Horn, I said, what can we do to help? And I said, I know that smoking causes this. She says, oh, no, don't be so sure. I said, what do you mean? She said, well, smoking for sure, I'm sure, plays a big part. But there's lots of other things that do just as bad as the cigarettes. I've got a good friend, and we've gotten really close with two more, and I've nicknamed the Three Musketeers, Susie, Barry, and Paula, and they all three are fighting this monster pretty much at the same time. Barry is ahead of Susie on the treatments. And so it's pretty cool to be able to ask him what to expect coming in and that kind of stuff, even though Dr. Horn will not treat Susie exactly the way Barry's been treated. He's in Louisville, and he's with some, sure enough, great doctors. But there again, he had it before he knew he had it. And that's the problem. But he asked his doctor, Barry didn't smoke. He didn't do any of that stuff. He said, how in the world did I get this? And he said, well, you're an old race car guy, right? And Barry's an old funny car guy. And he said, yeah. He said, I'm sure you're familiar with nitromethane. Barry said, yeah, I believe so. He said, ding. He said, another cause. Race fuel, ding, another cause. But not just that. Try going to the beauty shop and getting a perm. Try going to the nail salon and having your nails fixed and the stuff they use, the chemicals they use. Try this, try this, try this. Try a fireman going into a fire and working for a week, he has exposed himself to more bad chemicals than smoking his entire life. So there's 1,000,001 things. We can't stop living because of them. We can't stop doing the things that we all love doing because of them. And for sure, they're not going to. Corporate America is not going to tell you it's in there, because that would hurt their bottom line, and Lord knows you don't do that. But there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and Dr. Horn is that light. She has developed pretty much a pathway of a screening to say, yes, we got to look a little deeper. For the average guy to walk in off the street and say, here I need to be, just check me because I work in this, or I do this, or I do this. And it doesn't matter if you're a racer, if you work in a factory, a beauty shop, a painter, anything. I lost a dear friend to lung cancer that never smoked a cigarette in his life, and his name was Bobby Clark, and he was a good friend of yours too, Terry.
Yep. Sure.
And Bobby was around paint because he was an artist all the time. It's the only thing they ever figured out that possibly could have caused it. But there again, no way to know about it early enough to get a handle on it. Dr. Horn has that. Now, everybody says, well, and we're not here on this show to beg you for money. No, that is not our reason. Our reason for this show is to make you aware of what's going on here. Everybody said, well, gosh, Vanderbilt's huge hospital, mega money. Why don't they just fix it? Well, guess what? That would be really cool if they didn't have to fix 1,000,000 other things too. But they have to fix a lot of stuff. And research at Vanderbilt is sort of done like a NASCAR team. And to put it into perspective where I understood it. In a NASCAR team, any of you out there listening can be a NASCAR driver. And most any big team will furnish you everything you need to become one, but you got to bring the sponsorship. You bring the sponsorship, you're on the team. And, we're going to put you out there in the best equipment going and everything else, but that you have to show enough to bring the sponsorship that you believe in enough in what you're doing to do that. And you have to show that effort. They're the same way on clinical research, from what I understand, and I hope I'm telling you exactly right because I'm not exactly sure. And what we're trying to do right now is actually make you aware of what's going on and what's going to take place. But Vanderbilt will give her every resource they have to work with. She just simply has to raise her own money because this is expensive. And the beauty part about it, it is not like some other charity things, because it's not a charity. This is a way to find a fix. There are no salaries. There are no money. If a little kid sets up a lemonade stand like they do at Alex's Lemonade Stand, there's not some executive somewhere that's driving a new Mercedes that's going to take a couple of $100,000 a year salary. Every cup of lemonade, every quarter, goes 100% to this because Vanderbilt is bearing all the other expense. It can't get much cooler than that, I don't think. This little doctor has dedicated her life to fixing and finding lung cancer. How much more noble a thing is there than that?
That's why she got all them letters behind her name.
I guess that's where the alphabet soup came in. I don't know. But we left there. I left there, and I asked her, I said, Doc, I said, Terry and I do a little old silly radio show, but we get it in front of a lot of people. How can we help you? And she said, mainly, the best thing you can do for me is get the word out there as to what we're trying to do. And I said, well, how can we help more than that? And she said, right now you can't. Right now you can't. We have just set up the way to bring in some money for this and carry this farther along. I've carried it about as far as I can on my own, because I not only have to do the research, but I have to do my best to cure people like Susie while I'm doing it. And to go out and knock on doors and try to raise a buck to get this done, there's just only so many hours in a day. I just can't do that, and I understand completely. We don't want big money from anybody. What we do want...
But we will take it.
Yeah,
please.
but we'll take it. I mean, and trust me, we'll take it, but we don't want it. And we don't even know right now where to tell you to send it. We don't want you to send it to us. We want you to send it to them. But what would really be cool, we Terry and I are old racers, and we have been our whole life. And we pretty much realized that we started with racers because we feel like racers can do anything. They learn how to fix things really quick, really fast, and really right, and fix them the first time because there's normally not a second chance to get that done. So they learn how to do things. Car guys do amazing things. You look at our local juvenile diabetes, Kevin Kirby and those people have raised $500,000 for juvenile diabetes having a simple car show. There are so many things that could be done. And if people get behind this, we don't want an ongoing charity that you see on an infomercial every night when you turn it on and they're peeling at your emotions to send me this money, $19.95 a month, da-da-da-da-da.
Order now,
we'll send two, da-da-da-da-da. We don't want that. What we do want is everybody to figure out a way to do an event, to do something, and send just a little tiny piece. If everybody will do that, it will add up to more than enough to get this screening thing done and just might save your life, not some person's life on TV that you've never heard of or that you've never seen, or a person that's put on there to tear away at your heart. This is to save you and nobody else. Because, friend, trust me, you don't know where you got it, you don't know how you got it, and you don't know if you have it. And sure, quitting smoking is a great thing. That's all you can possibly do to help yourself. But there's a whole lot of other stuff out there that you can't control that is out to get you. I said earlier that right now our country's in a heck of a mess. You got this Ebola deal. You got ISIS, crazy bunch of people from over across the pond that think that they're going to kill everybody. You've got terrorists that want to blow up buildings and commit suicide all in the name of Allah. You've got all of this stuff going on. You've got taking God out of schools. You've got all this stuff. And people are so, pardon the expression, hell-bent on making you think their way. And that's not at all what's important here. We don't care if you believe in God or you're an atheist. You can still do something to help. And trust me, cancer doesn't care either. They don't care if you go to church. They don't care if you don't go to church. Cancer will come right and knock on your door, and you cannot understand, and you can't, I guess, you just can't know until it comes to your house. Once it comes to your house, it's a new ball game, boys and girls. It's not anything.
It's not someone else's time. It's home.
No. You hear about it, and you hear about other people having it, and you think, man, I feel sorry for you. But until, until it comes to you, you just don't know. Then when you find out there's nothing you could have done to prevent it, makes it even worse, and then you get mad. And T and I have gotten mad. We're going to work on every Sunday as hard as we can to make this thing go away. We're not smart enough to make it go away. Let me rephrase that. But we're going to make it where you at least have got a shot. Right now you don't have one. You have no way of knowing. There is no healthier person than my wife that I love more than anything. And if it can get her, we don't have a shot.
We don't have a shot.
We don't have a shot.
Not only raising the money is a great thing, but, we appreciate all the prayers, too, to show us how to do this right and get it off the ground where we can help everybody.
That's right. This will humble you guys. I'm 66 years old. And honest to goodness, I've believed in God a long time. But I actually prayed my first prayer out loud about a week ago. Out of my 66 years, I've talked to God a lot just on my own terms, but I actually did it out loud, and have never done that. I have had friends contact me, and you'll never know how much all of the prayers, all of the contacts, all of the good words, and all of that means until you're sitting in our seat. And hopefully you never have to sit in it. And maybe through Dr. Horn, you can keep from having to sit in it. My buddies, the Three Musketeers, I've always heard, if you have the faith in the size of a grain of mustard seed or a mustard seed, that's all it takes. Yeah, these guys, the Three Musketeers, have the faith of a semi-truck. You know, so people, they're listening, they're believing, they're doing everything that they can do, and the rest of it is up to Vanderbilt and these doctors and Barry's doctors in Louisville, and say a prayer for them as well as the people, because through their hands is what's going to make it happen. There are some folks that. Through Dr. Horn, this is strictly her deal, and we're doing what we're doing. We don't want anything for it. We don't want anything from you, but we sure want to be able to tell you how to help her, and that's what we're trying to do.
And help yourself.
And basically help you, but the only way to help you is through her, because right now she's the only one that I'm aware of that has a little bit of a handle on how to do this. Lord knows we don't, but we want to do what we can. This is so new, and her effort is so new. There is one of her patients. Her patients are really about the only one that she's asked for help, and it's really sort of cool that people get into this. There's a young lady, and her name is Dawn Sears. She is in the country music business. And she is in the country music benefit, and she is doing a benefit for lung cancer research for Dr. Horn. And it's Sunday, November the 30th at Depot Square in Gallatin, Tennessee at 6:30 at night. And you can check it out at DawnSearsandFriends.com. Dawn Sears just happens to be a backup singer for Vince Gill. She is a great, great lady. On this show, there's been a few other people that have volunteered their time. The group, the Time Jumpers, you've probably heard of them. If you watch any figure skating, you've heard of a fellow by the name of Scott Hamilton. He will be there. The cool guys that the West wasn't even founded without these guys, I don't believe, but the great guys, the Riders in the Sky group, where we'll be there. And one lady you may have heard of that is giving her time, Miss Reba McEntire, will be on that show.
I mean, a lineup like that, who wouldn't want to go?
That's right. Please check that out. We will, a little later on, and as we get information, we're going to pass it on to you on every Sunday show. That's what this is going to be about. This show is not only to do that. This show is to help with your efforts any way we can. If you're going to host an event, if you will merely email us at eventradio1@aol.com, call us 270-320-7222.
Or 791-7037.
Or get on Facebook to either Spivey Williams or T Guy, and let us know what we can do to help you in your event. If you want us to promote it on our regular shows, we will do that. We will promote it on every Sunday, as well as let people know what you've come up with. We don't want mega money. Racers, one of the coolest things we can imagine, so many of you run big dollar bracket races, if $1 from every entry made its way to this. And we already know that race fuel is a culprit, and you're all exposed to it. And Lord knows we don't want you to quit because that's our first love.
Well, we can lay the blame on a lot of things around racing, Spivvy. I mean, the rubber tire smoke. I mean, burnouts. I mean,
Yeah, the list goes on, and nobody knows.
Can't blame one thing.
No, you can't. But they can blame chemical
Right.
as a problem.
Exactly.
Steve McQueen, as we said in the beginning, at one point in time, he was spending $40,000 a month in a private clinic in Mexico because there was some little ray of hope. Had he known in advance, it would have been no problem. But he didn't even find out until he already was in deep, deep trouble. And the same way goes with everybody. And like I say, until Dr. Horn came along, there's been no way to even conceive a way to know. But now there is. And there is something that's being done. It can benefit everybody that's listening to us. And all it takes is just a little bit of effort. Sure, we'll take a great big check. We don't expect to get one. But we would sure like it. Just like the little Alex's lemonade stands and the little guys that are out there doing it. Do some good, because you may be on the end that needs it, not the figure on TV. I don't know. On every Sunday on our shows, there will actually be a dedicated archive page on our website, eventradiolive.com, that every one of these shows will be kept separate from the rest of them, so that you can go to it, you can use it, you can re-listen to them, you can play them for your friends, and that's the only way to get it done, guys. You got to spread it. This has got to spread faster than the cancer spreads in order to do this. We're not asking for an ongoing charity that we want you to send $19.95 a month until the last day of the world. We merely want the screening found and put in place, and whatever it takes to do that, that's what we want to get done.
If you guys have got any ideas to help us, please call.
Oh, please do. Please tell us, because we don't know it all.
We're not known to be the sharpest knife in the box.
No, we're not. No,
we stick around quite a while, though.
Yeah, there you go. And Lord knows we know how to get up after we've been knocked down, because both of us have been knocked down a lot. And we're going to continue to get up. We're going to continue to do this, and we're going to continue to spread the word as much as we can and do everything we can to figure out a way to raise tiny, tiny bits from a whole lot of places.
That's one of the only ways right now that we can actually fight cancer, Spivvy. It's a card. Cancer come hit you, not,
Oh, it's chicken.
It's a card. And it's, this way we can at least, get it out to people to know what's going down, and any benefits you can help us with will be appreciated.
That's right. And you can help us with so much more than your money. You can help us by conducting little events in your different areas of the country. And if we can all bond together and do a tiny little bit. We've already had people saying, "Where do I send a check to?" We don't know to tell you. Not yet. We will find that out, and as soon as we know, we will have that on every Sunday show. This show may repeat again for another week, but it will be available every Sunday, 24 hours, and repeat about every hour. And all you got to do is go to eventradiolive.com and touch the button anytime you want to listen to it. It's sort of like going into a movie in progress. You may, depending on when you touch that button, you may come into part of it and have to listen to the end of it and then re-listen to the front of it.
You'll like it enough you want to listen.
Oh, yeah. But this show immediately will go on an archive page. You'll just have to go on there and check. I think it's number 7, but I'm not sure. I can't remember. But this show will immediately, as quick as we can possibly do it, be put on an archive page where you can play it on demand for anybody, anywhere. And we are connected with you any way you can get connected on the Internet. We are there, and the Internet goes everywhere. We already have our buddies Rob and the guys over in Holland that they are helping us. We have people all over that have given us such encouraging words, and we can't tell you enough how much we appreciate already what you're doing and knowing what you're going to do in the future.
Everybody, please remember, we're not as bulletproof as we think we are.
No, we're not. And trust me, we're all susceptible. In closing the little show, there's one thing that I don't know. Everybody thinks their parents are brilliant. They think they're dumb when they're kids, and then they become so smart so fast it's unreal.
Imagine how much they learn in that short period of time.
Yeah, they learn a whole lot faster than we did. But my dad always told me something, and to this day I have never forgotten this. He said, the only thing in life you could ever keep is what you give away. That's true. That is so true. As always, guys, we never, ever end a show without thanking our sponsors. They enable us to do things like this. They are the best people in the world because they hang in there with us. No matter what Terry and I attempt to do, no matter what we attempt to cover, even though a lot of it doesn't even have to do with their business, but they don't care. They know we are sincere. They know we try hard. And if we can do anything half as good as they do it, we're pretty doggone good.
We'll be doing good.
The great people, guys, at Beach Bend Park, Beach Bend Raceway, and Splash Lagoon.
Quick Fuel Technology and Final Finish.
The Gearhead Gazette magazine, guys. You can get with them and find out where every car event is going on in our area. There is no better than GearheadGazette.com. And last but not least, the great guys at Holly Performance that have a Blue Million products. And surely, if you have a hot rod, you can find something you need through them. But as we said,
you guys can sponsor us too. Just help us out.
Just help us out. Talk it up. Make sure the whole world knows what we're talking about. And, unfortunately, bad news travels faster than good news. But when it's something that will benefit everybody out there, it needs to be passed along. And that's where we're at. That's what we're trying to do with On Every Sunday. We want to thank you, not only from the bottom of our hearts for listening. We want to thank you for the help that we know we have coming. We want to thank you for the prayers, for the good words that so many of you have done for the Three Musketeers. And that's about it. I don't know what to say other than Terry and I thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
Really do.
And we will talk again. See you.
Thank you.
You've been listening to Event Radio, covering local drag racing, stock car racing, motorcycles, go-karts. If it's got wheels and you can race it, you heard about it here. Event Radio is motorsports radio on steroids. Join us next time with your hosts, Spivey Williams and Terrible T Guy.